We hebben dokter Gobind Ganga van de Centrale Bank van Guyana. Die was dus ook aanwezig bij de Caribbean Breakfast. Dr. Ganga. Or can I say Dr. Gobind?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
How was the Caribbean breakfast?
Oh, as usual, it was very informative. Action-wise, we still have to wait for the multilateral institution reaction to the request of the Caribbean constituency at the meeting.
All right. So, in talks with our own governor and minister just now, we spoke about the problems that a lot of the Caribbean countries face, that they are considered as upper or middle income countries and do not qualify for the cheaper loans. Guyana will face that problem shortly.
Sure. Most of concessional financing provided to the region are very limited, and it is largely because of their per capita income, which is relatively higher than those who receive, for example, IDA funding, which is highly concessional. In that respect, a multilateral institution and other stakeholders are looking to alternatives with respect to the per capita income, in that they're looking at a vulnerability index. That vulnerability index will refer to the challenges that developing countries still face despite of a higher per capita. As you know, a higher per capita doesn't necessarily mean that you're able to have the wherewithal at that level of income. Maybe the purchasing power parity is very high, and as a result, you're still shortchanged in terms of what you can buy with respect to the higher incomes that is being received by some countries in the Caribbean.
How is the Guyana Central Bank preparing for the problems or the challenges that may come with the higher income, the influx of oil money?
Good.
And which problems do you foresee in the near future?
Well, we are not really foreseeing much problems. We have challenges, and those challenges will be addressed. For example, we know that Bank of Guyana has implemented a number of reform measures lately. We have had about 4 or 5 new legislation with respect to modernizing our payment system, providing for financial stability through a deposited insurance. We also have emergency liquidity assistance in event there is an issue to be addressed from the perspective of financial stability. We have also bring into perspective financial crisis management. So there are a number of things that we have put in place to ensure that financial stability continues and the system remains very resilient. We have also brought in a number of reform measures to account for oil inflows. As maybe you're not aware, but the National Reserve Fund is to be operationalized by the Bank of Guyana. In that respect, we have signed up an agreement with RAMP of the World Bank that will provide us with technical assistance to ensure that the institutional mechanism we have in the central bank will be adequate to deal with inflows. We have also have an agreement with the IMF to provide technical assistance in inflation targeting within the wider perspective of an adequate or a proper monetary framework as we move forward in a few years, so that when the flows of the fund come in, we'll be able to address monetary stability, as well as we'll be able to address other issues that might arise, for example, movement in the exchange rate. So we want to ensure that our monetary stability, our financial stability, price stability are all adequate, and the framework is robust enough so that our financial system continue to provide for continuous and sustainable growth and development of our economy.
Okay, what measures have been in place? You spoke about inflation. From my personal experience, I see an escalation in prices in the service sector. that is to be expected. So, and how will you work with keeping inflation low?
Well, we were fortunate enough because our exchange rate has been one of the major anchor for price stability. And as such, we continue to enjoy low single-digit inflation. For example, at the end of August of this year, the inflation accumulation was less than 2%.
But will that be the same when you now have an influx of foreign?
Well, obviously, that is why we're putting the institutional mechanism to deal with price stability as we move forward.
Okay. So can you speak about some of, I mean, of all the central bankers of the Caribbean, they would all like to be in your shoes now with the influx of money that Guyana is getting. How is Guyana using this and this new found fame to its best capabilities? In the sense that you would have more influence in the coming years?
Well, we don't see ourselves as one who is bragging or boasting because of inflows. We know that we have certain responsibilities for our people and those in the region, and we will do what is appropriate, both for our people and the region, as we continue with success from the oil.
And there is a lot to be said about climate and resilience.
Yes.
Will the fund that you're talking about, the stability fund, will that be mainly also used for climate resilience?
Well, we know that Guyana doesn't have hurricane, but we do have issues with respect to flooding, and we have been addressing that. But we need to ensure the safety of people on the coastal belt. And the government continue to focus on that, with help from the World Bank and other multilateral institutions.
And now the central bank, in closing, what is the role of the central bank what role is the central bank playing in climate resilience, and what will be the renewed focus on that for the central bank?
Well, the central bank continue to ensure that there is financing available for the private sector, because as you know, you have to have resilience from a number of perspectives, and one would be infrastructure in terms of the homes that are being built, so there should be adequate funding for those households that would need funding. Then also you will find that the market should be able to provide for companies, businesses, etc. Also, we are hoping that our financial system will provide that kind of financial resilience with adequate pricing for financing. And so we'll continue to build a financial system to provide a more efficient intermediation processing.
Okay. FinTech is also something that is really big within World Bank and IMF. We spoke about that a lot during these annual meetings.
Sure.
Guyana still does not have proper integration or between the different banks operating. How is that now being tackled, this problem being tackled?
No, we have a modernized payment system. We are one of the few in the regions that would have had legislation and regulation. We are still developing our payment system, but sometime next year we should have a system which will be one of the best in the region, and that will also take into consideration FinTech. So everything is a gradual process. Yes, all of that is being put in place. We have to ensure that we are able to address risk. It is not just taking whatever is out there and believes that you will put it in a financial system. Yeah, you hear these buzzword or sexy issues that you need to address. But we have to be very, very careful. We have to put what is relevant best practice in countries such as ours would be, for example, if you look at the indigenous population we have in the interior, we have to address those too, not only those in the city. So we have to have an entire framework that address both financial inclusion and financial literacy, which we are also in the process of putting together in a holistic way.
So Guyana is busy with their own way of getting to...
What we have been doing is to ensure that we have international relevant best practices from the payment system perspective to provide for efficient intermediation and also the kind of financial services that our households, company, and the entire Guyana would need, including government financing.
All right. Dr. Ganga, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thanks.
Het gesprek met de governor van de Centrale Bank van Guyana. Zoals u weet, en wordt every month there is we hear Guyana has found new oil, there's going to be more money. So who doesn't want to be in the shoes of the governor of the Central Bank of Guyana right now? Maar goed, dit was het voor vandaag, onze verslaglegging van IMF, World Bank meetings. Het is de afsluiting van deze meetings officieel. Dank u wel.